Key points. Why did the Bolsheviks win the Russian Civil War? There are several key reasons why the Reds were victorious over the Whites. First, we'll look at the role of the Bolshevik Red Army, which was about 5 million men strong by the end of the Civil War. Although Trotsky was placed in charge of the Red Army, he realised that he lacked military expertise, and therefore he allowed many officers who had fought for the Tsar to keep their posts, so that their skill and expertise could be utilised on the battlefield. However, Trotsky did not leave their loyalty to trust and appointed political officers to watch over them. In some cases, Trotsky also ordered that the generals' armies should be taken hostage to ensure their loyalty. Trotsky lacked military expertise, but he was a brave and brilliant leader. He travelled around in an armoured train, taking his special forces to where the battles were fiercest. Trotsky was also good at making motivational speeches to boost morale and remind soldiers what they were fighting for. Discipline in Trotsky's Red Army was fierce, and those who didn't follow orders would be instantly shot. Many were sent to their certain death in battle, realising that if they retreated they would be machine gunned down by their own side. Also, as the Bolshevik controlled a large proportion of the Russian rail network, they were able to move and deploy their troops far easier than the Whites could. This point links to the geographical factors. It's important to remember that the Bolsheviks held the central part of Russia, which was unbroken territory. The Whites, on the other hand, were scattered across Russia, which would make it difficult to fight a coordinated war, as it would be hard to move troops and supplies from one area to another. The Whites had no way of directly communicating with each other, as there were no telephone lines and sending messages on horseback would be very dangerous and the riders could be easily captured. The Bolsheviks could quickly send troops and supplies to where they were needed without crossing enemy territory. Another geographical factor is the point that the Bolsheviks controlled the most densely populated part of Russia, which contained the cities of Petrograd and Moscow. This was the major industrial heartland of Russia, and consequently the Reds were able to produce more munitions than their opponents. Moscow was the centre of the railway communication network, and the Bolsheviks realised the importance of this and made it their new capital city. Also, with a large part of the population under their control, the Bolsheviks were able to conscript more troops than their opponents. In relation to keeping morale high, the Bolsheviks realised the importance of propaganda and launched many successful campaigns aimed at influencing and reminding workers and soldiers what they were fighting for. The Bolsheviks' propaganda campaigns focused on the idea that the Whites were basically foreign invaders who wanted to restore the Tsar to power, something that most people didn't want to see happening. Another important factor that needs to be taken into consideration is the disunity of the Whites. The Whites did not have one clear aim and failed to coordinate their offensives. The White generals were often suspicious of each other's motives, fearing that they were planning to take over Russia for themselves. Consequently, the Bolsheviks were attacked by different forces, but at different times, making the job of defending their territory far easier. If the Reds had been simultaneously attacked from all sides, then it was likely they would have been beaten. You could also argue that after the Tsar and his family were executed in 1918, the morale of the Whites dropped, as for some the aim was to restore Nicholas II to power. As the Civil War progressed, the support from foreign powers for the Whites decreased. By 1919, all British, French and American troops had left Russia, and supplies sent were not enough to ensure victory. The last factor is the introduction of War Communism, but we'll look at this in the next section.